I'd like to start by painting a vivid picture of how the nation will fare if across every nook and cranny of the country we consume what we grow, which will translate into economic viability, prosperity, and a path towards building a nation that is self-sufficient in food production. For the present administration, food security is at the core of its renewed hope agenda. Now, to achieve that, there are emergency measures taken by the federal government on food security, which have started yielding results, we hear. And one of it is the crash in food prices. A recent report by the National Bureau of Statistics, inflation rate in the country declined for the fifth consecutive time to 21.12% in August, down from 21.88% in July 2025, amid a drop in food prices. As inflation eases, the rippling effect is on food prices, commodities in the market across the country, which some experts, however, attribute to the harvest season. So, how is the fall in food prices affecting citizens' purchasing power and food processing factories? How can these be sustained? Tonight, as the relief comes to the market, we'll take a deep to explore these crashes in food prices across the country. Our guest is Dr. Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security. We have situation reports, of course, as filed in by our correspondents. But in the meantime, welcome to Weekend File. I'm Ruth Aguele. As usual, we'll start with the news for the day. Vice President Kashim Shettima will lead Nigeria's delegation to the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly holding in New York, United States of America, between Monday, September 22nd and Sunday, 28th, 2025. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwacha, said Shettima is also scheduled to join all the dignitaries at the high-level general debates from Tuesday, September 23rd to Sunday, 28th. And he will deliver Nigeria's national statement on behalf of President Tinubu on Wednesday, September 24th. Also, he will attend a special event on climate for heads of state and government on Wednesday, September 24, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. to announce Nigeria's new nationally determined contributions under the Paris Agreement. Vice President Shettima is also slated to attend the Global Champions Debate on adequate and affordable housing to be hosted by the President of Kenya on September 24th and attend to other bilateral meetings and events. After the younger, the Vice President will leave for Frankfurt, Germany, where he is slated to meet with officials of the Deutsche Bank before returning to Nigeria. Public-private partnerships, strengthening global networks, and mobilizing grant interventions are necessary steps that must be taken in achieving the Global Agenda 2030, which provides a roadmap for actualizing the Sustainable Development Goals. This is the position of Kunle Yusuf, the Executive Vice Chairman and CEO, Merited Negotiation Consulting and Chairman, Organizing Committee Roundtable 2025, a sideline event at the 80th United Nations General Assembly. The high-level Executive Global Sustainable Investments and Grant Interventions event offers a pivotal platform for forging strategic partnerships, mobilizing resources, and accelerating progress towards the Global Agenda 2030. Kunle Yusuf notes that as nations navigate the complexities of climate change, economic inequality, and social injustice, collaboration is imperative. He commended President Tinubu for his efforts in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, inaugurating the National Climate Change Commission, and making key appointments such as the Green Great Wall Initiative and Emissions Control System, as well as the administration's focus on universal basic education, Senior Secondary Education Commission, student loans, and investments in artificial intelligence. In other news, Nigeria's upstream oil sector recorded a year-on-year increase in output, averaging 1.63 million barrels per day of crude oil and condensates in August 2025. Now, this is based on crude oil and condensate production for August 2025, released by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. A breakdown of August 2025 production comprises 1.43 million barrels per day of crude oil, which grew by 5.47% compared to August last year. This reflects a steady recovery and improved operational performance across the industry, meeting 96% of Nigeria's August OPEC quota. The Nigeria Customs Service has taken reforms a step further, sensitizing stakeholders in zones B and D on the automation of overtime cargo clearance. Amin Umar will tell us more.
Consignees, customs brokers, terminal operators and officers of the Nigeria Customs Service all gathered for the sensitization exercise. Participants were introduced to the newly automated overtime cargo clearance system. Presentations highlighted how the digital platform will replace manual processes, cut delays, and strengthen revenue collection.
It's just the process they were doing manually that is now electronics, and it comes with a lot of benefits.
Customs officials explained that automation will give stakeholders real-time access to information.
We are demonstrating that customs can be both a facilitator of freight and a guarantor of integrity.
Automation is not only real, but is coming to stay in Nigerian Customs Service. You either wake up as a stakeholder, brace up, match up, or you will be...
It's like a soft landing for us in a situation whereby your container overstayed the days that laws given.
The Nigeria Customs Service says the sensitization will continue across all the zones to achieve full compliance and nationwide efficiency in overtime cargo clearance. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
An explosion occurred at Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, in Kaduna, killing one person and injuring others. A statement by the DICON Public Relations Officer, Maria Sambo, says the incident occurred at the factory's old storage bunkers for raw materials for production, containing several expired materials. In July 2025, DICON commenced controlled disposal of these expired items and successfully destroyed all the ammonia nitrates and the majority of other items. However, the unfortunate explosion occurred while specialists were concluding the destruction of the remaining expired items at the disposal pit on Saturday, 20th September 2025. The injured DICON staff are currently receiving treatment. Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has extended condolences to the families of the deceased and wishes a swift recovery for those injured. All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll start our conversation on the relief we hear in the market as food prices crashes. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Well, Nigerians are reporting a decline in food prices across the country as markets are flooded with fresh produce from the 2025 harvest season. An investigation by NTA reveals that government policies and programs are also contributing to a reduction in food inflation nationwide. Let's hear from Musa Baba Ali.
Markets like these exist across major towns, cities and rural areas in the country. It serves as a platform where farmers and consumers exchange money for produce. Previously, consumers complained about the high cost of produce, particularly staples and vegetables. For instance, between 2023 and 2024, a bag of rice was sold for over 100,000 naira. The price of maize rose above 80,000 naira per bag, and a truckload of cassava reached as high as 800,000 naira.
The difficulty of the farmers now, the way they are facing challenges of fertilizer, that's why the farmers now, they didn't used to sell it in the cheap price, the way that people enjoy it.
Other food items, including noodles, flour, gari, beef and chicken also saw their prices skyrocket. This development became a major concern for the government at all levels. One of the major steps taken by President Bola Tinubu was the approval of a waiver on import duties and value-added tax for staple food items in July 2024.
Because of the need also to ensure that particularly fixed salary earners who go to market almost every day do not suffer the challenges of reform, balancing act needs to be taken.
The Ministry of Agriculture also mobilized resources to support farmers across the country for large-scale food production.
That's why in the NAGs we're given 50% subsidy of all inputs and free seeds as well. So that is to cushion the effect on the farmers.
From July 2024, the impact of these initiatives began to be felt nationwide. A survey shows that the prices of major food items have decreased by approximately 50% to 70%, depending on the produce and products. Recent figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that food inflation eased to 21.87% in August 2025, representing a 15.65% decrease compared to 37.52% in August 2024. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And if you recall, between 2023 and 2024, Nigeria's food price landscape underwent a significant shift, with prices skyrocketing to alarming levels. However, the early part of 2025 brought relief as prices to staple foods began to decline noticeably. Hingano John Adams tells us more.
Many Nigerians are breathing a sigh of relief as food prices drop across the country. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) indicates that staple foods like maize, beans, and rice experienced a decrease in price in the early part of 2025. This decline is largely attributed to increased food supply, spurred by the federal government's decision to temporarily suspend import duties and restrictions on some food items. Both traders and buyers consider the decrease in prices as benefiting.
Last year was a very terrible period, but as at now, what you buy last year for 100,000, you can buy for 50,000 now.
If they have an agency that actually do the price controlling, we would love them to be active on that.
The price of food items have dropped down. Let me say 60%.
The National Economic Council, NEC, is not oblivious of farmers' concerns on the negative impact of increased imports on domestic production, as it recently endorsed initiatives to boost food productivity and security, including mass production of solar-powered irrigation pumps.
For the first time in 26 years, 2005, a basket of tomato did not exceed 50,000 naira.
With the country's food inflation recording a significant year-on-year decline, Nigerians are hopeful that the figures will continue to drop to make life easier. In Lagos, Hingino, John Adams, NTA News.
All right, let's begin the conversation. We have in the studio Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. Thank you very much for joining us, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
Good evening to you too. Now, people, or rather experts, have attributed this crash we're seeing in food prices to the policies, interventions by the federal government. But these are the kind of news I'm sure Nigerians want to hear, right? Honorable Minister, tell us how far so far?
Well, thank you very much. I think we need to understand why we are where we are, because we met a problem. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not waste time. He took it on head on, declared a state of emergency, and of course, thereafter, were appointed as ministers. And I think as we resume office with my brother and colleague, distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, it was very obvious that we have things to do. And based on all of the challenges we met on ground, we need to hit the ground running. And the first thing we looked at was the fact that, yes, there is challenges of food. And if you have challenge in food security, then you need to look at the drivers of food insecurity. And in this case, we knew, based on some of the challenges before we came into government, the flood, the Naira redesign, and all those things contributed in making farmers not to be able to meet to the challenges of increased production. So we decided to bring back to life the National Agricultural Growth Scheme program that we met on ground. We reinvigorated it, and then we went into dry season farming 2023-2024. And from then onwards, we kept the pressure in terms of providing support to farmers. In the case of that dry season program, from your opening statements, you could see the minister saying that we give up to 50% subsidy to or support to farmers. And I think beyond that also, we had so many other programs where farmers were supported, either with agrochemicals, extension services, and the like. And most of the farmers also that have association, when there are problems, they engage us in the ministry, we listen to them, and on the basis of which we are able to solve the problem. A case in point is the Tomato Farmers Association, the Onion Farmers Association. All of these approached us in the ministry with problems, and head on, we took on our own agencies, the institutes and other officials, and then together we're able to provide solution. So overall, the interest and the sincerity of this government in driving the agricultural production programs of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is what encouraged Nigerians to go back to farm in spite of the challenges. And you could see the fact that, yes, we had issues where some of the production centers were challenged by insecurity, but of course, government also did not, lie on its oars. And at the end of the day, some of these areas have been, reclaimed back, and they are now into production. I think a classical case in point is the Beningwari axis, where we knew for almost 10 years no activities, and so on and so forth. So we actually looked at all the strategies. For example, we now realize we can't depend on rainy season and then wait until dry season, which are limited. So what we've done is we are now promoting all year-round farming, and as a result of which the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is providing support. 2 weeks ago, I think we actually flagged off the distribution of equipment, agrochemicals, and other inputs to small-scale farmers, knowing fully whether we are promoting all year-round farming.
Okay.
So all of this is helping to first do the ramping up, and at the end of the day, to do the balancing act. I think the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning was telling you the balancing act. The balancing act is to make sure while farmers are producing, we are also not unmindful of the challenges farmers are facing, so that we'll provide some support to that.
And talking about balancing and addressing these challenges, I want to know the kind of interventions and reports you're getting at the subnationals to keep this trajectory going, because some states we're hearing reports of the prices fluctuating, so I'm sure the whole goal is to create that balance.
Yeah, in talking about the subnationals or the states, I think fundamentally the president's vision is like a bug. It has caught up with many of the states, and we've had a lot of robust engagement with them. Many of them visited our ministry for the first time. We are having a large number of visitation, and in all of this is for us to work together, create that partnership, create the synergy, and then see areas where we can work together. And I think if you look at states like Niger State, incidentally my own state, if you look at states like Jigawa State and Kaduna State, Borno State, all these states have programs that we are able to partner together with them to support them in terms of training of extension agents and also providing some support, even Katsina State. So the overall interest is that we are working together. And maybe let me also put it on record here that the president saw the need for this kind of engagement and has also approved the establishment of what we call the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit under the Office of the Vice President. Here we are able to bring the private sector, we are able to bring the federal and then the states and other stakeholder groups so that we can look at common problems and trying to see how we can remove the constraints and those things that are preventing farmers from getting the maximum efficiency in their operation. So there's quite a lot we are doing, and our belief is that the president's vision of food sovereignty is real, and we in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture are pursuing it with all vigor. And what we're talking about here is let's produce what we consume and consume what we produce.
Indeed.
Nigeria is blessed with diversity of food from the coastal area down to the northern part where you have the challenge of desertification and the like. Okay. And if you also look at the fact that land is the beginning of agriculture, we in the ministry are currently working to bring what we call the Farmer Soil Health Scheme, which will enable us to advise farmers on the kind of fertilizer they will require for their farms, the kind of crop they should plant, and how efficient they should be able to do this operation so that they can reduce cost. Because when you talk about food security, you are looking at affordability, for example.
Yes.
Affordability is driven by so many factors. If farmers expend too much money in their production, they will pass on the whole cost to the consumer. But if you help them to achieve more efficiency by putting in less input in terms of cost and then getting more, then definitely the price will become affordable.
And there's another area of concern, talking about reducing costs. Recently, at a workshop, capacity building workshop to be precise, you stated that the federal government is set to put modalities in place for safe passage of food commodities, to ease logistics challenge and, of course, prices for consumers. So what is in place, to achieve that?
Well, let me maybe clarify here. You see, if you look at the production and consumption system, the high area of production is not the high area of consumption. So what we've seen is that definitely there are a lot of marketing movement, agricultural produce moving from either the north to the south or from any part of the country.
Yeah.
And in the course of this, these marketers go through a lot. They take a whole trailer load or maybe a lorry, and in the course of traveling, say maybe, for example, from one state in the north to a state in the south, that road they follow, they experience a lot of issues where people collect a lot of money from them, some of them calling themselves tax force, some of them security personnel and the like. And at the end of the day, if the man spends, and from the study that was conducted, because there was quite a study that was conducted, the Office of the National Security Advisor and our ministry, there was a study, and we saw clearly that some of them were spending as high as 750,000 to just get a trailer load of food down to the south. All of these costs will be passed on to the consumer.
Yeah.
So the concern was raised, and Mr. President, in his classical form, decided that, look, this is something we should take head on. And a cabinet committee was set up under the headship of Senator Abubakar Kyari with other cabinet members and the security arm so that they will look at these issues. And currently, this issue has been looked at, and the National Security Advisor had talked to all the service chiefs. They've looked at how to ease, because some of the personnel are actually doing this illegally. We have some reports showing that. So, and actions have been taken to create that ease for farmers. But beyond that, the other aspect is the collection of double taxation, or if you want to put it that way, or even illegal taxation. All manners of people on the road forcing traders to stop and collect whatever they want to collect. In some, even detaining their produce. And in the process, you detain somebody's produce 1, 2, 3 days. By the time the produce gets to market, it's already losses, prime.
Yes, and that's where post-harvest
This is
losses.
the reason why we believe, it was something that is to be taken very seriously. Action is going on it, and as a result of which, we believe very sincerely that, it's going to give some little succor as far as this issue is concerned. And of course, the subnationals also, in terms of their presence in the National Economic Council, all of these issues are being discussed. And so it's a whole of government approach, and we believe it is something that we receive the highest attention at the end of the day.
So it's work in progress, we would
it's
say.
work in progress,
okay,
absolutely.
so but we'll delve into the issue of post-harvest losses after the break. Honorable Minister, let's stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. After months of skyrocketing food prices, there's finally a breather for households as costs begin to ease. But in Kano, we hear stakeholders warn the relief may be short-lived unless government, steps up support for farmers through input subsidies. Let's hear from Yohannes Hassanbarao.
Once, food prices have soared across Nigeria, leaving many families struggling. But now, there is some relief as costs begin to drop. In Kano's Dawano market, cereals like maize, millet, sorghum and rice have seen sharp reductions. A 100-kilogram bag of millet, which recently sold for up to 50,000 naira, now goes for as low as 33,000.
Here at Dawano, the largest grain market in Africa, prices of staple commodities have sharply dropped, giving relief to families. But the big question is, will this last beyond the harvest season?
We feel fine. We really appreciate this because the prices have already come down.
This will also be sustained if the government brings out a well-thought-out policy that includes some backward and forward integration in which the interests of the farmers will be taken care of.
At Enkaba Perishable Market, prices of tomatoes, pepper and onions are also falling, giving households easier access to fresh produce. For now, families in Kano are smiling at the markets, but stakeholders stress that sustaining this relief will require long-term solution in production, storage, and security. In Kano, Yohannes Hassanbarao, NTA News.
And buyers and sellers of commodities in southeast region of the country are having mixed reactions over the prices of this food items. This development is coming on the heels of the dip in prices. Chidi Okurafo will tell us more.
This is the area zone of the new market, Enugu. The area zone is a place where food items are sold. From our investigations, prices of items like rice, beans and garri have dropped.
1.5 liters of palm oil sells at 4,400 naira. As a full 25 liters of the oil is sold at 72,000 naira in Enugu markets, as against around 50,000 naira obtainable in other regions. Also, a sizable tuber of yam sells between 3,000 naira to 7,000 naira.
My experience is that foodstuffs are fluctuating. Today you think you are getting it. Tomorrow they add something.
Other items have dropped. We are very happy. But red oil, actually we don't know the reason why it has refused to drop.
The situation has been attributed to high transportation costs and low production. However, there is a drop in the prices of items such as rice, beans, garri, onions, among others, across the country. A 50 kg bag of locally produced rice
what we're doing right now, like I just told you, we've just flagged off distribution of equipment input to farmers because we are promoting all-year-round farming. And we've done some programs where already farmers have benefited from fertilizer and the like. And you will recall that last year, the president, concerned about reducing the cost of production, gave us 2,150,000 bags of fertilizer, which was distributed. And this contributed also in making farmers to have access. Even though, yes, we also came back to the fact that farmers are still complaining even now about the cost of fertilizer. That will not go away until we are able to get to that place the president wants us to get to. Right now, there is a transition in terms of our fertilizer, production system. It was with the presidential, fertilizer initiative before, but it has now been given to Murphy, and they are working out to see how they are going to stabilize. We are confident based on what they are doing. They are bringing in inputs, and when they bring sufficient inputs, they will be able to bring down the price because, economy of scale plays out. Yeah. And coupled with also what we are doing by the side with, respect to the soil health scheme that I told you about. The fertilizer blenders are part of what we are doing, and we are convinced that if this works out as we are hoping to launch it very soon, they will be able to now have specific blending for farmers, either crop specific or location specific. That way, the efficiency of farmers' operation can be guaranteed. Overall, what we are looking at is whatever we will do to help farmers to produce with less by increasing their efficiency in terms of productivity. That is what we are focusing on.
Okay.
And so, for example, the issue of seed is also a very important equation here. Because if you have the right seed, then you'll be able to have higher yield, and of course, short duration. Climate change challenges will also be tackled because the resistance to pests and diseases will also be guaranteed.
Okay.
So it's quite a lot of things, and it's not just one thing at the same time. No, it's so many things happening, all tackling how we are going to sustainably produce so that farmers will be able to continuously be in production, and this food will be available, and citizens will be able to also access it at some affordable price.
Honorable Minister, we should also commend the National Economic Council. Just recently, a few days ago, they endorsed the solar-powered irrigation pumps, for ahead of the dry season farming. Yeah. I'm just mentioning these as part of interventions, incentives you've also mentioned. Yeah. But if there's no adequate monitoring of getting these inputs to the right people, you still hear these complaints and the challenges we're seeing. So you have this interface with the states, even at the local level. What is the report you're getting? Are these incentives getting to the right people?
Well, I will tell you this. This has been our concern. And right here, I think on this spot in one of the programs, I've spoke about the fact that we are concerned about portfolio farmers, fake farmers, those who come in to cut away whatever support government wants to give to genuine farmers. Yeah. Now, what we are doing is we are sieving through the maze, trying to ensure that we get to the real farmers. And for example, we know there are cooperative societies. And by the way, we are also driving a Renewed Hope Cooperative Reform and Revamp Program, where we want to reposition the cooperative societies to play this critical role. And we've assessed these cooperative societies in the various states. Together with the state, we've sieved them, those ones that are active and that have members that are genuine, and they are the ones that are our target. And we're going to continue this reform, ensuring that at the end of the day, we have cooperative societies that have members who are genuinely farmers. But beyond that also, we are looking at institutional farms. For example, Nigerian Army farms, the Correctional Service, many other institutions that have, programs that will support whatever production activities we are looking at. Yeah. Our target here is that we want to know who the genuine farmers are. And so within that context also, we are looking at how we're going to work with NIMSI, for example, in terms of data capture to enable us know who these farmers are by their location, by their farm types, and the kind of operation they do. So it's a whole lot of things because we didn't meet all of this on ground. And we can't perform magic. But what I can say for sure is that everything I'm saying here, we are doing them, and we are having a purpose for doing them, because we want to, clean the mess that we met in terms of everybody coming to say he's a farmer simply because government wants to give support. We don't want to do that. And for farmers, we also ensure that in our workings, we recognize the farmers associations, we work together with them, and we're also encouraging them to expose those who are giving them bad name, because some of them are not farmers, but they will come around to say they are farmers just to take whatever government wants to give out to farmers. So it's not an easy task, but we are committed to it, and we are not complaining. The president said he's not complaining, so we are not also complaining. We are just doing the work, and we want to get the work done. And we are confident that, yes, we can do this, because Nigeria is definitely our country, and we believe in Nigeria, and we have to make sure we get Nigeria working for everybody.
Indeed, and we look forward to a nation that is truly, truly self-sufficient when affordability and availability is ensured. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Nigeria's leading financial institution, Zenith Bank, says it is prepared to give all it takes for female basketball to attain the peak in all categories. These were the corporate assurances at the 2025 Women Basketball League. Gift George reports.
8 clubs featured at the Nigerian Basketball Federation Women's National League Finals, sponsored by Zenith Bank, which ended Saturday evening at the Indo Sports Hall of the National Stadium, Lagos, after 1 week of thrilling action. Zenith Bank has been the sole sponsor of the Women's Basketball League for the past 18 years, in collaboration with the Nigerian Basketball Federation. The platform provided by Zenith Bank has significantly contributed to the development of women's basketball in the country, with the Zenith League producing players who have been part of the D-Tigers' success story over the years, winning 5 AfroBasket championships.
Congratulate the NBBF and also Zenith Bank for what they are doing. This is what we all want to do. We say we should go back to grassroots and start from the bottom up. And this is quite brilliant. So congratulate everybody for that.
This is how we have always conducted our last 17, 18 years with Zenith Bank. So I really would like to say we are extremely grateful to Zenith Bank for keeping the faith, for keeping us alive, and also on behalf of, I would say, the women's national team.
Zenith Bank, thank you so much. Really appreciate. We appreciate you for everything. I mean, this year's Premier League is one of the best.
4th place match. Former champions MFM beat Royal Aces 74-6 to get the bronze medal.
I want to say a very big thank you to Zenith Bank for this great opportunity, for allowing the girl child to play basketball, to keep us busy at this time.
Zenith Bank recently rewarded the D-Tigers with the sum of 200 million naira for winning the AfroBasket title for the 5th time, assuring that it remains committed to advancing women's basketball in Nigeria.
The D-Tigers in America, we also actually gave it to them, for them to give their scouts. So people are watching it around the world, which is good. So you can see that the Dolphins won today. Those ladies will go places.
The champions got 7.5 million naira, 2nd place 5 million naira, while the 3rd place team got 3 million naira. In Lagos, Gift George, NTA News.
Celebrating talents there, and talking about that, Ayo Deji is set for more sports news. Ayo, I'm excited because Man U won, beating Chelsea 2-1.
Well, of course, you're absolutely correct. We'll still have time to talk about the world of the Premier League, where Alex Iwobi incidentally also scored for Fulham. But before we get to football, let's begin with cricket. As Professor Uyi Akpata has been re-elected as president of the Nigeria Cricket Federation, while Wale Obalola will serve as vice president after the 2025 elective Congress, which held at the media center of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. Akpata and Obalola returned unopposed with 47 votes, pledging to elevate Nigeria's profile in international cricket. Chairman of the Electoral Committee, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Jacob Johnson Usman, validated the process, which conformed with international standards ahead of their inauguration by the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, next month.
We are going to be working closely with the regions. We're going to insist all zones set up associations, and through those associations, we have formal structures where the NCF can work with the states to deliver on our strategic imperatives around development, high-performance facilities and partnerships where we see that our zonal reps and members of the board are interacting with the state governments.
For them to have been returned unopposed means they have worked hard. Reward for hard work is more work. So what is before them now is more.
All right, let's go to the world of football where host Chile forced Nigeria to a 1-1 draw in a friendly match played at the city of Rancagua as part of preparations for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup Finals, which kicks off September 27. Ahmed Akinyele converted a set piece for Nigeria in the 18th minute from a corner kick by Tahir Megana, but Chile drew level in the 36th minute through Felipe Fondes. The Flying Eagles will take on the Australia Under-20 team in another friendly match before the tournament starts properly. Elsewhere, Falconets have stepped up preparations for the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifier against Rwanda, with the first leg of the second round clash at the Kigali Pele Stadium on Sunday. The players resumed training on Saturday and are in high spirits after holding a late recovery session at their hotel gym earlier in the morning. Sunday's encounter will kick off at 2 p.m. Nigerian time. On match day 5 of the Nigeria Premier Football League, Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan welcomed Kun Khalifa to the Lake on Salami Sports Complex as 4 matches have been rescheduled due to continental engagements in CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup by Nigerian club sides. Elsewhere, El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri host Warri Wolves, and on Monday at the Muhammadu Dikko Stadium, Katsina United welcome Wiki Tourists of Bauchi. Now, Manchester United made the most of Robert Sanchez's early dismissal to claim a vital win over Chelsea in a heavy downpour at Old Trafford as captain Bruno Fernandes struck before Casemiro added a second in a match where both teams ended the game with 10 men. Tottenham showed resilience in fighting back from 2 goals to draw Brighton. Leeds United celebrated a first away win of the season with a trio of 4-star goals against Wolverhampton Wanderers, while at Anfield, Liverpool continued their title defense, extending their winning streak to 5 matches with a commanding Merseyside derby over Everton. The weekend's showpiece is set for Sunday as Arsenal and Manchester City go toe-to-toe in a clash that could shape the early direction of the title race this season. And of course, Alex Iwobi was on the score sheet in the match that's about to end now between Fulham and Brentford at the Craven Cottage. And that's your sports. It's back to Ruth.
Many thanks, Ayo. So let's quickly see what tomorrow's weather will look like.
Thank you for joining us. Sky will stay clear across the extreme northern parts of the country. However, residents in Niger, the Federal Capital Territory, some parts of Nasarawa, and much of the southeast and the southwestern areas should prepare for early morning thunderstorms with light rains. As we move into the afternoon and evening, widespread moderate rainfall with thunderstorms are expected across most parts of the country from the north down to the southern half of the country. The far northern fringes, though, will hold on to partly cloudy skies, staying relatively dry throughout the forecast period. And that's our beat from here. Join us again.
So September 24th, that is tomorrow, is a special day. And you may ask, what makes it special? It is the International Day of Peace, a day designated by the United Nations to strengthen the ideals of peace and non-violence among all nations and individuals. The day serves as a call for humanity to commit to peace above differences, observe a period of non-violence and ceasefire, and contribute to building a culture of peace. This year's theme, Act Now for a Peaceful World, highlights the need for action in times of conflict and uncertainty. Coincidentally, tomorrow happens to be the birthday of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, who has always been a strong advocate for peaceful coexistence. And that's where we wrap up Weekend File. On behalf of the entire crew, have a good night rest. I'm Ruth Aguilera.